Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline could be in a lot of trouble if Jey Uso ends up reuniting with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso. To ensure that does not happen, the tribal chief sent a two-word message on social media reminding everyone of Reigns' past actions. While the OG Bloodline is one of the greatest factions in WWE history, the group was formed after Reigns continuously tortured and manipulated Jey and Jimmy Uso. The OTC also delivered a severe beatdown to Jey during their Hell in a Cell match in 2020 and used Jimmy as bait to make the Yeetman say "I quit." Solo Sikoa reminded everyone of Roman Reigns' past actions as he reshared a post from the USA Network on the 4th anniversary of the Hell in a Cell "I Quit" match between the OTC and Jey Uso. The Bloodline's leader took to his Instagram story to share the picture from the bout along with a two-worded message in the hope of further dividing the two former stablemates. Solo Sikoa's action on Raw could end up reuniting Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. While Jey Uso had so far refused to reconcile with his family, he could change his mind after what transpired on Raw this week. The Yeetman's first WWE Singles title reign ended in just 28 days after he lost the Intercontinental Championship to Braun Breaker with interference from the Bloodline. Jey is bound to come after the heel faction for vengeance and thus could reunite with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso in the process. The former Intercontinental Champion was also present on SmackDown last week where he confronted Solo Sikoa. Jey questioned his younger brother's decision to associate with the Tongans and Jacob Fatu. However, his words ended up costing him as Fatu put through a table on Raw to assist Braun Breaker in the win. With Roman Reigns and Sikoa once again set to be present on the blue brand, we can also expect an appearance from Jey Uso. However, he is unlikely to join forces with the OG Bloodline members yet as the storyline is expected to drag till the Road to Survivor Series, War Games on November 30th. In the heart of the WWE storyline, a power struggle was reaching a fever pitch. Roman Reigns, the dominant tribal chief, had kept the Bloodline tightly bound under his control, but cracks had started to show in the once unbreakable foundation. Solo Sikoa, the quiet enforcer of the family, had been watching every move closely, and it was becoming increasingly clear that he was no longer content with being just a bystander. It started with a cryptic two-word message posted on social media, "Family First." Fans immediately started buzzing, dissecting the meaning behind Solo's words. Some speculated he was standing firm with Roman, reinforcing the Bloodline's unity. Others believed it was a veiled message directed at Jey Uso, hinting at his allegiance to him instead of the tribal chief. The ambiguity of it all was enough to set the WWE Universe on fire. Jey Uso, who had broken away from the family, was caught off guard. Ever since he made the decision to go solo, he'd been subjected to Roman's wrath and disdain. Jey knew he would be an outcast, but the pain of severing ties with his family still lingered. However, when he saw Solo's two-word message, he couldn't help but wonder if his younger brother was hinting at something deeper. Backstage, Jey could feel the tension simmering as he approached Solo. He felt the weight of every step, every stare from other superstars and WWE staff, wondering if this meeting would mend or shatter the Bloodline further. When he finally reached Solo, he didn't know how to start. Solo, never one for words, merely looked at him with that piercing gaze that could either convey loyalty or a warning. "What did you mean by that message?" Jey finally asked, breaking the silence. Solo tilted his head, his eyes still fixed on his brother. "Exactly what it said, Jey. Family comes first." He paused, letting the weight of those words sink in, but maybe not the way Roman thinks. Jey studied Solo's face, trying to gauge if he was serious. "Are you saying you're ready to turn on Roman?" Solo's silence spoke volumes. It wasn't an outright admission, but Jey saw a flicker of something in his brother's eyes, defiance. This was new territory for Solo, who had always been the loyal enforcer, keeping his emotions tightly guarded. Solo finally spoke again, his voice low and deliberate. "I know where I stand, Jey. But maybe it's time Roman remembered what family really means." It was a bold statement, one that would have rattled the foundations of the bloodline if Roman were to hear it. Solo's words confirmed what Jey had hoped for. His brother was tired of being used as a pawn, pushed around under Roman's unrelenting rule. And now, he was ready to make Roman question his own beliefs about loyalty and family. As the night went on, Solo's cryptic message continued to make waves, drawing Roman's attention. The tribal chief wasn't one to ignore signs of dissent, especially not from within his own family. Roman approached Paul Heyman, his loyal advisor, to address this perceived threat. "Did you see what Solo posted?" Roman's voice was cold, calculated. Heyman nodded, already sensing the turmoil brewing in his tribal chief's mind. "Yes, my tribal chief. It's causing quite the stir among fans and within the locker room." Roman clenched his jaw. "I don't care about the fans. I care about my family understanding where their loyalty lies. Perhaps, if I may suggest, it's time for a reminder?" Heyman offered, his eyes glinting with a mix of caution and cunning. Roman nodded slowly, his mind already working on a plan. He decided it was time to remind Solo who held the true power in the bloodline, to remind him that any deviation from his rule would be met with severe consequences. As the SmackDown episode rolled on, Roman called Solo to the ring. The arena was electric with anticipation, the crowd eager to see how this confrontation would unfold. Roman's eyes were cold as he stared down his younger cousin, the tension palpable. "Solo," Roman began, his voice a low growl, "do you understand what it means to be a part of the bloodline? What it means to be loyal?" Solo stood stoic, his face unreadable as he faced Roman's accusations. "I understand family, Roman. That's all I meant when I said family first. Maybe you should think about what that really means." A murmur of shock rippled through the audience as Solo's words hung in the air. Roman's eyes narrowed, his face a mask of controlled fury. For the first time, his loyal enforcer was openly challenging him in front of the WWE Universe. "Are you saying you don't think I've put this family first?" Roman's voice dripped with barely contained rage. Solo took a step forward, his gaze unwavering. "I'm saying there's more to family than just power and control. Maybe you forgot that." Roman's face turned red with anger. In that instant, he knew Solo wasn't merely pushing back, he was subtly aligning himself with Jey, defying Roman's authority. The tension between them crackled, each man staring the other down, both fully aware of the implications of this confrontation. Just as the situation threatened to erupt into violence, Jey's music hit, and he walked down the ramp, his presence throwing gasoline on the already blazing fire. The crowd roared, sensing the intensity of the moment. Jey looked between Roman and Solo, his face a mixture of emotions. "You see, Roman," Jey said, stepping into the ring, "I tried to tell you that the bloodline is more than your empire. Solo sees it now too." Roman glared at both of them, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "I made this family what it is. Without me, there is no bloodline. Do you really think you two can stand against me?" Solo, never one to be intimidated, replied calmly, "Maybe we can't. But maybe it's time we try." The crowd erupted as Roman's face contorted in rage, the reality of his family slipping from his control finally sinking in. It was clear now, Solo and Jey were no longer just loyal followers, they were potential threats. As Roman seethed, Jey and Solo stood side by side, united against the man who had once been their leader. For the first time, the bloodline seemed truly fractured, with Solo's two-word message sparking a rebellion that could change the course of WWE history. Backstage, Paul Heyman watched in horror as the family he had worked so hard to fortify crumbled before his eyes. Roman, now outnumbered and possibly outmaneuvered, knew he was losing control of his family. His face was a mask of rage as he stormed out of the ring, leaving Solo and Jey standing tall, a silent statement to the WWE Universe. The bloodline was no longer Roman's kingdom. It was a battlefield, and for the first time, the outcome was uncertain. Solo's message had done more than ignite rumors, it had sparked a rebellion that would forever alter the landscape of the bloodline.